What's up guys, welcome back to another video. So today I am back in my studio and I'm just gonna jump right into it. Today I'm talking about how to get a perfect credit score with $0 out of your pocket and how you can turn that into hundreds of thousands if not millions of dollars of profit. Having a 800 as a credit score is basically looked at as the best to any lenders out there. It is legit coveted to have an 800 credit score, and you can do so many things with it. A credit score is literally a grade on how good you are with your money. It's very similar to in grade school, a teacher would give you a test, you do the test, get back a grade, and that grade would show how well you actually understood that subject. And it's even more similar to grade school because your overall grade was actually compartmentalized into different subjects. So like participation, homework, quizzes, and tests, very similar to your credit score. In your credit score, you have 5 different columns that will make up your credit score, and they're all weighted differently. Having a good credit score can save you a ton of money, and honestly, if you leverage it correctly, you can make millions. With a great credit score, you can get lower interest rates, and with lower interest rates, that means you actually don't have to pay as much on any loans, such as car loans, mortgage loans, legit anything that you can think of. And this is a key to anyone who actually wants to build up a real estate portfolio, because the lower the interest rate, the more cash flow that your properties are going to spit out on a monthly basis. Sometimes it makes so much sense and it's very effective to refinance your loan to get a lower rate, and this way you can actually maximize your cash flow and minimize how much you actually have to pay to the bank. It's legit free money, so you might as well do it. As I mentioned earlier, having a great credit score can minimize your monthly payments on any cars. That's one of the reasons why Graham Stephan was able to get a $78 Tesla. You can get approved for almost all credit cards and therefore hack the system to get free hotels, flights, and basically pay for all your vacations with no money out of pocket. And if you actually use these methods in this video, I promise you, you can make thousands of dollars out of it, and with $0 out of pocket. So let's jump right into it. Like, subscribe, comment for those almighty YouTube algorithms because I really appreciate it, and I take a lot of time to actually produce these videos. Thank you so much. So to get a perfect credit score, well, let's start off with the basics and figure out what we're actually going to be graded on. And just to be clear, you need to do well in all of these categories to get a good overall grade, very similar to like schoolwork. If you get a 0 in your quizzes but 100 in everything else, it will destroy your grade. We're going to jump on to number 1, and that is on-time payments. This is a 35% weight of your credit score, so this is the big one. You cannot miss any payments. The quick answer is just don't miss a payment, but I'm going to get into how it actually works. So basically how they actually rank you is they'll take how many actual payments you've paid them and divide it by the overall payments. So if you've had a credit card for 6 years, that would be equivalent to 72 months. So let's say you've been flawless except for one time you just didn't pay that. That would be 71 times that you've paid over the 72 months that you've actually had to pay. That gives you a 98.6% on-time payment history, which is good, but it's not perfect if you're looking to actually have that perfect credit score. But let's give another example. Let's say instead of just one credit card, you actually had 2 over those 72 months. That means that you would have had 144 payments, and let's say again you just missed that one, so therefore we would take 143 of the on-time payments and divide it by the overall 144. This gives us a 99.3% payment ratio, which is a lot better actually than that 98%. That will be a massive difference in your perfect credit score. You can't just wind up the clocks and spring ahead to actually get all these payments, so having multiple credit cards could actually help you out a ton. One thing that I do want to know is if you cannot pay the entire bill off, make sure that you at least pay the monthly minimum. The reason why is because a lot of these credit card companies consider the minimum as an actual on-time payment. Typically it's around $25 to $30, so at least pay that. Jumping on to number 2, and this is credit utilization. This accounts for 30% of your credit score, and this is essentially how much you actually use of the credit line that you're supplied with. It's a weird game that you basically have to say, give me credit, but I don't need it because I'm that good with my money. You need to show them how you're independent and you're responsible and all of this stuff, while actually doing that is a different story. They would like to see that you use under 10% of your actual credit line. So let's say, just for simple math, that you have a $1,000 credit line. You should only be charging a maximum of $100 per month. Do not go over that if you want a perfect credit score. But if you charge $300 on that $1,000 credit limit, that is a 30% utilization, and that is very bad actually if you're trying to get that perfect score. Now I want to make this very clear, they're not actually too concerned about how much money you borrow, it's just the percentage of money that you do borrow to your credit limit. Now, what actually helps you increase your score in this category? Well, having multiple credit lines with higher amounts of credit will definitely help this, because the more credit that you have available, whenever you charge something, that means there's less of a utilization percentage. Now, if you have 10 credit cards with $10,000 of credit on every single one, yes, you have $100,000 worth of credit, but you should never actually use all of that. But again, with higher credit makes your utilization percentage go down, and that's why I highly recommend asking for a credit increase every 6 months or so. Now, there is a misconception out there, and I want to make this also very clear. Some people say to leave a balance on your card just so they report you every single month to the bureau. Do not do that. That's a ton of horseshit, and honestly, it does not help your chances whatsoever. So just a quick recap: have a lot of credit, have a low percentage utilization, don't keep a balance, and have multiple kinds of credit lines such as car loans, mortgages, credit cards, and don't forget to ask for a credit limit increase every 6 months or so. Number 3, and this accounts for 15% of the weighted value. They say length matters, and that's the same case here, because your length of credit is actually a big determining factor of your credit score. The longer you've had credit, the better it is for your credit score. That is why you should build credit as soon as possible, and honestly, on your 18th birthday, you should at least sign up for a credit card just to start that credit history. And that is why the present is so valuable, because if you start a credit line now, as days go on, your credit history gets longer and longer, and that makes you look better. The sooner you start, the better of a foundation you will have. If you signed up for one credit card 5 years ago and haven't signed up for anything else, well, you have a credit history of 5 years. However, if you signed up for a credit card 5 years ago and then you signed up for one today, well, now your credit history goes down to 2.5 years. And I want to make this clear, if you guys go and actually shut down an old card, that will also affect your credit history. It will lower the average age of your credit lines and thus reflect in a negative manner. Start to build this ASAP, because time is of the essence, and I do want to mention that Credit Karma shows how it actually takes 9 years to basically get a perfect score in this category. But don't be alarmed, because I definitely know some other people who have basically half the time of that 9 years and they still have a perfect score in this category, so don't mind too much. It does only account for 15%, so don't stress it too much. Number 4 is total credit lines, and this accounts for 10%. And yes, this might sound a little bit stupid, because earlier I said this is basically a score on how good you are with your finances, and yes, they are actually rewarding people with more loans on their back. Whoever doesn't need credit is going to have the best credit score, because they are seen as the safest investment by the banks. And you also have to understand that the banks and the credit card companies come up with this system, and you just got to play within the rules. Credit Karma actually says that 21 lines of credit is ideal to get that perfect score. It's very ironic, because they'll loan the money to the people who actually don't need it, and then once you need it, then you're looked at as a risk, so then they're less likely to actually loan you money. But you just have to play into it and play the system. And 5, this is your total amount of inquiries, and this weights for 10% of your credit score. Whenever you apply for a new credit line, they'll take a hard look at you. And if you go around and ask a ton of people for credit, well, then you'll have more inquiries and you're looked at as more of a risk, because you're just running around trying to get any credit that you can. And they might think something has happened, you're running out of money, you're going broke, or something like that. So therefore, they see you as more as a risk, and you're less likely to get any more credit. Therefore, your credit score goes down. It looks pretty sus if you apply for 6 credit cards, a mortgage, and 2 car loans the exact same day. They'll probably look at you and say, is he just trying to take the money and run away and never end up actually paying us? However, I do want to make this clear that if you go shopping around for rates for a mortgage or something like that, and they're all within a close timeline, they'll actually group that in as one inquiry. And yes, when you actually inquire about a new credit line, it might affect your credit score just for a little bit, and it might go down. But don't worry, because that'll actually be erased pretty quickly. It'll be on your report for 24 months, and it will only affect your credit score for 12 months. This is a way that they actually incentivize people to go shopping around for the best possible rate. It is temporary, so you should definitely shop around and find the best rate possible that you can. Do this all now, and it will build a great foundation in the future, so if you ever want to scale a real estate portfolio or get the lowest possible loan rate on a car, you will be in a great financial situation to do so. That's all for today. I hope you guys learned something, and as always, like, comment, subscribe for the YouTube algorithms. I really appreciate it. Thank you for tuning in. Good luck in the markets, and I'll see you guys next time.